We're going to have some people like kind of hopping on because, yeah, fashionably late, of course. I'm just going to mute everybody just in case. And then when we go through and stuff, she'll probably let you answer questions and you can just unmute yourselves. Okay. All right. I think we're good to go. Okay, so thanks for hopping on, guys. I know that like Sunday nights, 8 p.m. is like when you're like ready to like pass out and go to bed. But I spoke with some people and I just kind of asked like what you guys wanted to see, who you wanted to see, what content you guys wanted to see. And a lot of it came up like as Instagram. A lot of it was, maybe like stories, maybe posting, maybe like just like wording or like how to reach your market through Instagram. And, a couple of people have come up and obviously I like immediately thought of Yolanda because I think that's just like her niche. Like she does a very good job at Instagram. She does a very good job like with who she is. She's just herself unapologetically. She literally has built herself to 2-star, probably going to be 3-star this week, I'm assuming, or like super close to it, which is phenomenal because she's always been like, I'm not in the business, but like she's always like Success Club like 70. She just is insane, just pushes out of her comfort zone. I don't even know if you have a comfort zone, like you just you just fly through everything. Like but I met her through, I think it was like one of Josh's groups, maybe. I think I met her through, and then I actually met her in Oklahoma for the first time. We went to his event and stuff, and yeah, after that, I feel like if I need like a kick in the butt or if I need just to like talk to someone about something, like I always message her. She's phenomenal about resources, about trying new things. She's constantly like evolving and changing and stuff. And so I really do feel like she would be, an incredible speaker for us for Instagram and stuff. So I'm going to have her share with you. And then hopefully we have time for questions because I would love to pick her brain about Instagram and stuff. So there'll probably be people hopping on, Yolanda, so I will try to mute them and stuff, but the floor is yours, girl.
Cool. So, okay, you guys, so nobody needs to know that I'm a hot mess and I own the hell out of that. So I don't have a presentation for you guys. And I actually, because I think that we always start these calls with, oh, I'm going to give you all this information, which you guys have heard on YouTube from Megan, from Melanie, like from everybody a million times. And I just kind of want to open this up like right now, like with the questions that you guys might have. There's definitely things that like I have questions for you guys, more so than this just be like, give you all this information. I'd rather for this to be like an action kind of thing for you to like sit down and think about like who you are, what your message is, guys. I think that is knowing your message has been kind of the game changer for me. Even as somebody that's been in the business for like 3 years, like I'm a little different than a lot of Beachbody coaches. And I think it's okay if you are too. And hopefully, I want this, show of hands. How many of you guys are following other Beachbody coaches that are not on your team? Go unfollow them. You guys, this is this idea when you are watching someone else, like if I could be 100% genuine, I would love to launch Transform 20 myself, not when Beachbody does it, but to do it on my own time, right? Because I'll tell you, I'm not on a meal plan at all right now. I'm like, okay, so I think that my question is just to first start here and just to ask you guys, like, what questions do you guys, like, honestly, you can ask me anything and I'm going to tell you an answer. This is just who I am. So I know you guys have questions. So like, let's just start there. And then I'll kind of like open it up with like, talk about your message, your ideal person that you want to work with, and being unapologetic about that part. Because when you get unapologetic about that part, you're going to start having like, raise your hand if ideally you would love for people to come into your inbox and be like, oh my God, that post speaks to me. Like, you're my girl. You're like my long lost soul sister. Like, yeah, right? And when you are trying to talk like this Beachbody coach, because this Beachbody coach is doing it this way and that way, and you're like, oh, I don't really know who like Like maybe my market is like, you know, a college graduate, but maybe it's like this, you know, like getting so laser focused on your person. Because how much fun, you guys know, we've all had it. You have people that are in your challenge groups and you're like, oh my God, I can't stand this person. Like their posts get on my nerves, blah, 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 blah. Like really like getting into the ideal person for you. So, okay. So we're following other Beachbody coaches. Like, let's just not do that. Go follow other people that inspire you, that have amazing social media accounts, but that are not Beachbody coaches. So if you're somebody and you love fashion, that has absolutely nothing to do with Beachbody or fitness or whatever. Go follow those kind of accounts and seek inspiration from them. How are they talking to people? How are they posting? What are they asking people? You know, what kind of things are trending on their pages that they're talking about? And I think that when you can kind of separate outside of it just being about fitness is usually really helpful. So questions? Another questions? Brittany's like, yes, girl, I'm ready. I'm unmuting myself. I'm ready.
So, like, how do you, like, seek out those people? Like, I feel like I, like, search and I just, like, can't find, like, accounts, not necessarily related to Beachbody, but, like, I can't find accounts that, like, really do speak to me. And I just, like, I feel like that I'm just searching random things that are, like, and then I just get frustrated. So,
well,
I guess, like,
who are you?
Excuse me?
Like, who are you and what is your niche? Like, your girl pal BFF in your business or in your challenge group is who?
So I'm a teacher right now. So like I would be seeking out like other teachers, other dog moms, other people that like shopping, online shopping, what else? People that like to travel.
Okay. So where does your girl want to travel?
Anywhere.
Where do you want to go? If like, think about it this way, because I think a lot of what we have to do too, guys, is vision cast. And this is something that makes me really uncomfortable, but I've been telling my social media, I'm going to be a 15-star coach this year, top 10. And I'm like, I'm not doing the work to do that, but they don't know any different. Okay. They don't know any different. Like if you show up, they know absolutely no different. So Brittany, I want you to think about this tonight. Like go to bed and think about where is that vacation that you want to go, and you're going to work so hard for it this year. Because if you go out and you start vision casting to your girl, if you go out and you start looking for like, for me, it's Bali. I want to go to Bali. I put on my freaking stories, I'm like, who wants to go on this retreat with me? And people are like, oh my God, I want to meet you and go with you. I'm like, then you need to join my team. That's how you're going to go. Are they doing it? No, but the more that I talk about it, the more they see it. Like when you keep putting stuff in front of people, the more that they're like, okay, like what is she talking about? They're going to start asking me questions. So think about that tonight. And like, what an amazing Monday morning post. Or you got a new dog?
Yeah, sorry.
Sorry, squirrel. An amazing post for you to do this week and to be able to vision cast that. Or when you get paid on Thursday, like, okay, so you're going to talk about this trip tomorrow, whatever, maybe it makes you uncomfortable. And then on Thursday, when you get that paycheck, it's like, oh my gosh, like it's so exciting and I'm saving up for this trip, and just talk about it. Okay. Then if you start finding people in whatever that place is, go look at the hashtags for that place. Go look at the location for that place. Who's posting about it? Who's talking about it? Who can you go reach out to and be like, oh my God, when they come to your page, because now you've talked about it, that you go pick their brain. I want to know all about how this was. And they're just going to give you your opinion. Oh, and then by the way, girl, like you seem really awesome. Like I have this boot camp. You should think about joining it with me. So I would think about that. Like, where do you want to go? And just tell people where you want to go. And then show them pictures every day, tag people in it, use the hashtags, like daydream about that place, whatever.
Okay.
So I think that this is where we get like, it's like, oh, she just wants to travel. No, you got to know exactly where that person's going to go, and you got to start like seeing yourself there. Because when you start talking about that hooky stuff, people are like, what? And then you're crazy. That's when your crazy is just going to jump on with you. I promise. Is that helpful?
Yes, that's helpful.
So just getting crystal freaking clear, because when we're vague, we're talking to like everybody. And I've been working with like a marketing strategy coach for a little bit now. And don't be scared to, I think that we think like, oh my God, like for me, I'm like very child free. I'm very opinionated about not wanting to have kids, and I'm 34 years old. So it's kind of like weird, and it's this unique place. And that's been something I've been kind of scared to talk about. And guess what happens when I start talking about it? I find my homegirls. I find my girls that are like, girl, like kids make me cringe. Like they make my ovaries hurt. Like, you know, and then you start talking to those people, and guess what? In my challenge group, guess what? They're dog mom AF, okay? Everybody checking in with their dog and their cat and whatever, because now I'm really, truly, genuinely attracting that person that like I relate to on that level because I'm talking about it. So that's what I would say. No, so where do you want to go, Brittany? I need to know this, okay? So I can come creep you and be like,
yeah, I got to think about like an actual place because like I want to go everywhere. I'm getting married this year, so like I mean we've talked about going to Ireland, which would be awesome, but like one day when it's financially able to do that.
Okay, so put it on your vision board, make your vision board, share your vision board on your stories, like ask other people if they do vision boards, ask other people if they want to go to Ireland, ask them if they've already been. You know, start getting your like market of people. Any other questions?
That was kind of like piggybacking on my question. So I know a lot of times we want our coaches like posting, you know, about like those 5 things that like make up them. But when she was saying that, I kind of like drew a red flag for myself when she was like, I'm a teacher, I'm a dog mom. I'm like, well, crap, like those are all mine too, you know? So it was like, how can I set myself apart a little bit more from her? And then you like hit the nail on the head with the whole, you know, like be laser focused and show like what, when, and where, and be specific. So
yeah, like you guys, I'm just telling you, to me, it's just the year of vision casting, like 100%. And I just, in my mind, like feel like there's crazy people that follow me and they're just like, okay, like I don't know what you're talking about. Well, let's just do it. So anybody else have any questions? So, okay. So like we all think about like those 5 things. Have you guys ever done the color wheel? Amy Arata always talks about the color wheel. I've never done it with my girls.
No, so we did the animals like a long time ago, like the rhino.
Yeah, so the color wheel kind of takes it like, it takes you out of those 5 things. Because sometimes it can be like those 5 things like that can make you feel like really trapped. Because it's like, oh, what if I don't have this to talk about today? The color wheel has like this gigantic thing where you just like fill in like all those things that make you you. So it's like even outside of those 5 things. And you guys, I know that I've said that too, like go ask your best friend like why you're weird, or like what makes you different, what makes you unique. Like go ask people those questions. Because you guys, I literally do voiceovers for my dog like on my stories, and people are like, I literally just follow you for Ralphie voiceovers. And he talks about his vegan snacks on my stories all the time. And people literally like love that, like so much. And it's just weird. But I talk a lot about being plant-based. So it's also like in Ralphie's voice, can I be educating people about being plant-based? And for those of you guys that are teachers here, okay, you're a teacher, yes, that's awesome. But what else can you be teaching people on your social media? So Brittany, I guarantee you, when I started Beachbody, like I didn't know what a vision board was. Like, you could be teaching people about that. Why do people come to you? So I think that, you know, we think about the fitness, we think about our 5 things, but get specific. What do you want to, like, people to view you as the expert as? Like, what are you really good at that you want people to come to you? What's a vision board? A vision board is where you put, like, all your, like, scary, crazy dream things on and you make them a reality. Like, I'll show you mine. So because Megan, you recruit a lot of teachers, right? Yeah. So you guys are naturally like educators, but educate people on other things too, because then when people start seeing you as a resource for other things, like people always want to know things about food and supplements and things like that. So it's like it gives them another way to trust you that's not Shakeology, that's not transform 20, lift 4, blah, 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 blah. Right? Does that make sense? So, and you might be like, oh my God, well, I don't know how to teach anybody. I'm not an expert in anything. Just think about something that like you're intrigued to learn about and you're going to share about on your Instagram that's outside of necessarily health and fitness. So like for me, it is like, I talk all the time about being plant-based. Like I'm getting an actual holistic health coaching certification because it's like my jam. I don't think people should eat meat, and I just talk about it like all the time in my stories and stuff and on my social media. And so people like, they catch on to that kind of stuff. Sorry, I got this coach. She's crazy. Anyway, anybody else have any questions?
Shelly has one in the chat. She said, how do you make sure you spread apart your topics? Or do you have like a schedule of what you post about, or do you wing it? So like, I know sometimes like we share, like a posting calendar and stuff, you know, for people like topics or whatever for the day. Yeah. But at the same time, I feel like a lot of it is, like challenge group or coach oriented. So like, how can they, I think that's kind of what she's asking, like, how do you throw it in? She's like, I don't know if that makes sense, but we have Thursday payday, Sundays talk about what you're doing for the week, etc. But like, yeah, I totally understand what you're saying, Shelly.
Yeah, so like, actually sometimes I think I probably don't talk about Beachbody enough to be, like sometimes people are like, oh, I didn't know you're a Beachbody coach. I'm like, yeah, I like, you know. So I think it's like, you just have to find that balance, whatever that's going to be for you. So maybe it is like, how many times, like, what's your posting rule? Twice a day or what?
Yeah,
Twice?
probably at least. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, some days I post 4 times a day. This is because I'm home all day and I'm bored. Again, I should be doing work, but I just rather like dick around on social media. But so I would just say, like, you guys post transformations a lot too, right? 3 times a week, or what's your?
Yeah, just like encouraging them to, I mean, share more of those. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're just going to have to fit it in there. So I know it's kind of like this, like breadcrumb. But you just interject it here and there. Like, I think sometimes, like, if I look at my page, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've just been in a Nike sports bra, like the last 4 posts. Like, it's time for me to hit people with like a picture and I actually have makeup on, because that's different, you know? Like, so you always just got to be thinking about like, here, because I know you guys are probably like Megan type A's and like, just tell me the exact answer. Like, do like every 5th post, have it be like that it's outside of like you kind of go rogue off of whatever that schedule is that you guys are on. I would just say every 5th post. Because that way it's like you're on your 5 brands or whatever. And then that 5th post is just going to be like just something different. And it's not going to be like necessarily random. It might feel random to you because it's like off of your like typical thing, but it's going to be like that one thing that like you are the resource to other people about. Like, so Megan, for you, like thyroid, like you should be talking about thyroid, like if you found other supplements outside of like just Shakeology that can, you know, help with thyroid, or becoming the resource for thyroid, like even outside of like what you know about it, like just, you know, finding other things to research about, because it's going to just connect you with people in a different way. So,
yeah, I love that. Sorry, I was just reading these.
I don't have them up.
Yeah, so I always feel like the same thing. Like a lot of it obviously is fitness, so I've been trying to get away from it. But at the same time, I know like I find the struggle, and I know a lot of our girls work full time, but like like I just feel like my life's so freaking boring. So I'm like trying to find those little weird things to, you know, to share or like to get out to people and stuff. And so when you said that, I just wrote down some like random things about me. Like I've been using the wand and stuff with my like extensions, and like I have an obsession with like getting my nails done and stuff, like just weird stuff, you know. And I like
weird stuff.
Yeah.
So you can start asking people like what their favorite like I'm like super holistic. So like I'd be like, what's your favorite non-toxic like nail polish, or, you know, like those kind of things, like things where you can like, maybe you have people that are following you that they're the expert in that and they can kind of give you tips, pointers, blah, 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 blah. Right? Does that make sense? And then guys, also think about the brands that you love that are not Beachbody, that are not Shakeology, those brands, and start talking about them, start sharing them. You guys, I get so much free food right now. It's insane because I tag these brands. I talk about different vegan foods, but that's on brand for me because I speak about food so much. And then I can go and I can kind of like recommend other things to people. So if it is, I don't know, like Ashley's got these lips on and I'd be like, girl, like, do you talk about that? These bold lips. You talk about it? You share your makeup tips? If you like makeup, talk about it. I mean, I don't know. You guys, I'm so mesmerized by people that do makeup. Like I'll sit there on their pages and I'm like, oh my God, like how does she do that? Because that's just, I don't know how to do that. So again, when you can become like the resource for somebody else, like they're just going to trust you more, so that when you do say, hey, you can join me for $215, like they're like, they already just trust you so much. Right. And I think that's the big thing, guys, like creating that trust and having even your followers creating trust amongst each other too. Because then you're kind of creating this little tribe vibe. So somebody wants to know tips on how to reach more people through Instagram. I'm getting old. I'm not using it to its full potential. Okay, who said that they're old? Who is that? That's self-limiting belief, y'all. My mom is like 61 and like she like slams, like she does so good on social media. I'm like, I wish you would coach, because she just like sends people friend requests. Like she doesn't care. But like she's using it. So why do you feel old? Because most Beachbody coaches are 40 plus anyway. Like,
I think it's more, it's like a joke around the office because I'm like 38, and so I don't have a whole lot of experience with Instagram. Like Facebook, I've got for social stuff, but hi. So I don't feel like I'm using it to its full potential. So like I see you guys, your Instagram stories, your posts, they're awesome. I'm like, oh my God, how do you do that? Or how do you reach more people? So I'm like trying to follow this, friend 3 people or 5 people or 10 people and invite all these people per day. And I'm like, shit, I'm running out of people. Like, how do I get more people? And I'm friending friends of friends and messaging them and they're not responding back. And so I guess I just need to cast a bigger net, and I'm not sure how the best way is to go about that.
On Instagram?
On Instagram, yeah, that would be great.
So I think, here's the thing, guys, too. You got to know where your people are. And I remember when I was just starting Beachbody and I was like, everybody was teaching us Facebook. And I was like, people that I want to connect with aren't on Facebook. But your people may be on Facebook and not Instagram. So I think that that's something that I know that there are people that are like, oh my God, we got to go to Instagram, we got to go to Instagram. But if your target might not be on there, they might be more in a Facebook group. So I think just like keep that in mind too. But the hashtags make it really easy to find people. I mean, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, and that too, like hashtagging. This is like a whole new world for me.
Okay, so Amy Rada did an amazing video about hashtags. It's in the Beachbody Champs. And she talks about that, because if you're using hashtags that are like fitness related or Beachbody and you're just picking up those people, like, but this again is where you have to like sit down and like, who are you? Like, who are you besides like the teacher, the mom, the dog mom? Like, who else are you? Like, what did you do, before you were a mom and a teacher and like those things? And you might be finding people like that you might connect with there too. Okay. I think a lot of times we just look at the like where we are right now as the brand versus like where have you been? Because it's like, where are you a step ahead of somebody else? That's really your ideal client.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that.
Mm-hmm. All right. So you need to reach more people. So definitely look at that Amy Rada thing that's in the Beachbody Champions. It's really good. How do you spread apart your topics? Okay. I don't know. Jessica, was that a question about the sell yourself without selling?
No, I was more, so I work for the Chamber of Commerce during the day, and so I advise businesses on how to promote themselves. And I was just agreeing with, yeah, if you're an expert on certain things and it's like a giver's gain kind of thing. So if you give.
So girl, I know where your people are. I know where your people are hanging out. This is where you got to think outside the box, you guys. Like, I don't know. I just like talking about branding, I guess. But okay, you work for the Chamber of Commerce. Do you dress up every day to go to work?
Yeah.
Okay, sister friend. Where do you shop?
Everywhere.
Where's your favorite place to shop?
I mean, like I love White House Black Market.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking you should be looking for your people Ann Taylor. Should be looking at your people White House Black Market, like not Forever 21. Like, you know, like where is your woman shopping? Like, right? Like, where is she? What bloggers is she modeling after? Go find those bloggers, those lifestyle bloggers that are like the successful business women that are crushing it out here on Instagram, because they definitely exist. And you're welcome. Your people are going to be in there. I already know it.
All right, cool. Thank you.
But for me, I'm not going to go look at people in Ann Taylor, because you guys, I'm dressed like this like all day, every day. Like,
no, girl, I'm a businesswoman and I'm a former New Yorker, so I'm always dressed.
Oh yeah, I mean, so this is like perfect. Boom. Like, go. Your people are like, but that's like the kind of stuff that you have to think about, like that further step. So yeah, so you guys, with being you, is there something that you would love to say on Instagram, but you're scared to say it? Is there something that you would love for people to know about you, but you're scared to say it? Because I'm going to tell you guys, it's weird. So I had a couple posts that like really kind of blew up. One of which I held up a box of tampons and I said, I'm ending this 19-year relationship. And I talked about tampons. And it, like, if you go, there was like 200, 300 comments. Like, it was like crazy insane. I don't have a huge following by any means, but it was a really, really engaging post. And then from there was I able to, like, people were giving me all these suggestions. People had their opinions, blah, 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 blah. So then, like, I was able to try out some different things and to share that with people, right? Anytime I get my period now, like, I'm the resource. Everybody wants to know, oh my God, like, how is this working out? How is this doing X, Y, Z? But I was scared to talk about that. I was scared to talk about, like, hey, like, tampons all of a sudden are like freaking me out because I think that they're dirty and they're gross and probably giving us all kinds of weird things going on with our bodies. And other people like really came around, right? So it's like these things that you might be scared to share, these things that maybe they're a little bit uncomfortable to share. If you don't want to put it out there in that social media post, put it on your story. It's going to disappear in 24 hours anyway. So just think about, like, do you have something like that? And, you know, I think, you know, like when I was like, oh, like really like going in and talking on the child-free thing and, you know, not feeling like you have to tiptoe around people, guys. Our job on social media is to attract and to repel. So somebody should come to your page and people have short attention spans. So in 20 seconds, if they even give it that, like, are you worth following? Are you standing out on your social media? Or do I come to your page and it's like, it's another Beachbody coach, right? So you got to be like thinking about how you can stick yourself out. And I know that can be really uncomfortable sometimes, but when you start doing that, that again is where people are going to really start reaching out to you and connecting with you. I would say too, guys, think of some buzzwords for yourselves. Words that, like, if you have one word to describe what Beachbody has done for you, or you have one word to describe what this opportunity has done for you to coach, think about those two words and start using those words all the time. Because for me, I'm a burned out nurse. When I started really using the word burnout, guess what people would slide in my DM with? Burnout, energy, freedom, these words that I use over and over and over again, right? Because it's like you guys know how it is. When you see a freaking commercial 25 times, you're like, okay, I'm going to go have that burger the next time I'm in Wendy's drive-thru, right? Because this is repetition. So don't be scared that you're going to tell the same stories. You're going to talk about the same stuff, like kind of like over and over again, because that is what is going to build trust within people. So I would think of your words, and I would be curious to know like what they are outside of just like fitness. And then those words too might be like the words that like, that is your weird fifth post. It's kind of like a little off from what you would typically post about. But I'm telling you guys, it's the human mind is, I'm like, I don't know, my computer's dying, but the human mind is like, sales is psychology. And so we kind of have to get into the psychology of how do people think and what causes people to buy from you. Somebody says, how do I get people to commit and not pay attention to the cost? So if people have a money objection, it's just because they don't see the value in it, or they don't trust you enough. That's it. That's it. Because I'll have girls that are like, this isn't even in my budget this month, but I'm going to do it. So that, like, again, when you really start talking into your person is where they're just going to be like, take my money and run. Because I just did that last week. Like, I was like, oh my God, take my money and run. And it was $1,000. And I didn't even bat 2 eyes. I was just like, I'm just going to do this. I need this, right? So you have to create that within other people. You guys, it's only $160. Like at the end of the day, right? But when your storytelling is really, really, truly on point, and you're, again, speaking to that person because you know who you want to attract, and you know, like, your message is out there and you're being really clear with that message. You know, I know that a lot of you guys still work full time, but if your idea is to be home with your dog, go talk about it. Project it for people. Tomorrow I don't really plan my post, but my post is like a picture of me and Ralphie sitting on a chair, and it's like, well, I'm really just embracing the stay-at-home dog mom life as a real title. Because my Instagram knows that I talk about struggling with the validity that I have found in having degrees and having a title as a nurse. This is something I talk about on repeat. Any other questions? So Ashley, because you got these red lips, like, I'm so intrigued by you. I want to know, like, who are you trying to attract in your business?
Okay, sorry. I was trying to figure out how to turn it on. So what was your question? I'm sorry.
Like, who's your person? Like, what is your message? What is the message? If I were to go to your Instagram right now, what message do I see from you?
So like, my message is that, you know, I was that 262-pound girl who went through a failing marriage and divorce, and having to start my life all over again from ground zero. And you know, I work in intensive care and pediatrics, and just kind of like just trying to make it through day by day, and just pushing myself and making others feel like they can do it, even whether they're going through anything in life. So
That's awesome. Sorry, you guys. I know you all heard my old man fiance. He's so loud, like, so loud. Okay, that is freaking awesome. So do you tell that story? Like,
I haven't talked about my divorce at all. That may be something that I can talk about, you know, is going through a failing marriage, and how to pick yourself back up after said and done. So I think that was something, like you said, you know, like, don't be afraid to be daring and talk about the things that scare you. And that, I think that for a long time, that was one thing that was very sensitive for me. So maybe that may be something that I can reach out and attract more people who are going through the same thing, or who have gone through the same thing.
Absolutely. And people have like divorce parties. Go find your girls in those hashtags. Do you know about that?
No.
You're welcome. You guys, I'm just going to quit Beachbody and be a branding coach.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, no, I see these things that's like finally single, or like, because I look for people that are in weird stages of life too. But yeah, like, go look, like, people literally have divorce parties. And if you start talking about that, if you talk about like how, like, taking 20 minutes a day, like, gives you more confidence and, and finding yourself after that experience, people are going to relate to that part, not just you being sweaty because you sweat with Shanti. You know what I mean? So you just kind of think about how to connect with the people differently. Thanks for sharing that.
Here.
It made you all red to share that. So you know what else?
I know, it got me all worked up.
So, but you know what? Is like, go on your story with that emotion and connect with people and just be like, there's something in my heart that I just really want to talk to you guys about. And, I just want to open up so that you guys know who I am. Yeah. And people will fall in love with that part and not the sweaty selfie.
Oh yeah. And it's always hard to like put yourself out there and be 100% raw. But like you said with Megan, with like her thyroid, and like me with my divorce, like, you can touch so many people who are going through the same thing and be that motivation that they need to get through the day. So
because you are, I made a post about this today, like, following people that are ahead of you. So I follow people that are ahead of me, in the sense of people that are super freaking healthy and they're like so happy. And I'm like, oh my God, I want to be like that, so that they inspire me, right? So the girl that might be going through this crappy relationship right now, and the girl that is in the divorce, the girl that's contemplating it, if she sees you kind of like showing up and being the expert and being her guiding light, that's going to be freaking huge.
Yeah.
So huge.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. You guys, I just started reading this book by Michelle Obama. And she talks about, like, it stuck out to me. She said, you know what? Like, the one thing that you will always have is your story. And that nobody can take your story. And so she talks about how, like, it was so, like, weird to go from, being in the White House for 8 years to then just, like, being, like, assimilating into a normal life where, like, she was in a house and, like, she had to make her own toast, right? Because, like, they had chefs and stuff, and she just talks about her story, and it's, like, so vulnerable. It's so raw. So I think when you know your story, the message that you're trying to send, which actually your message is amazing, like, because it's not just health and fitness, but it's health and fitness helping you in that and overcoming. Absolutely. But I would lead with that story and sharing that message with people, because it's powerful. It's really powerful. The more vulnerable you can be, the more that people are going to connect to you. I show up in my social media, I'm happy 99,000% of the time, and people are like, they don't relate to that. So the day when I'm crying, guess what I do? 15 seconds. And then they get that piece. And then it's like, people connect with that. So don't be afraid to share that emotion. And it's not like tricking people, but it is really hitting them on that emotional level. When people are emotionally attached to you, they don't see the price. They want to be with you. The price no longer matters. When you get into that, like, I promise you, the price will no longer matter, because they are just emotionally invested within you. But you have to open up and let them into that. So if you struggle with anxiety, I would talk about that. If you struggle with your confidence, but most people see that you are really confident, that's me, like, all day long, like, talk about how you do actually struggle with your confidence, right? Or whatever it is you struggle with. Write that down too. Like, put that on your list. Like, what things do you struggle with, guys? Those are the things to talk about. That's the picture to paint to people, because it's you're struggling, or you have struggled, but you're overcoming. And that is going to be part of your message. So for me, it's like being a burned out nurse, but knowing that I really wanted to help people. And that, like, in itself being a big struggle. And then struggling to believe in myself, which is like an everyday thing. So, Shaylin, you're like into it. What is your message? I like putting y'all on the spot.
I'm still actually trying to figure that out. My life has always been fitness, whether it was the playing soccer since I was 4, playing for college, and suddenly being done that, having injuries, tearing ligaments in my knees, to concussion and getting into the worst shape of my life to use this to turn around and come into the best shape of my life. Like, I'm a huge traveler, like Brittany. Like, I've been to Ireland, Mexico, like I've been all over the world, and that's kind of what I'm focusing on. And I'm trying to find my people that also don't want to work the conventional 9 to 5 and just want to travel the world and work from their phone.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of people. Like, you know what I mean? So like when you really start putting that out there, but I do think the part of being like an injured athlete and being super fit and then letting your fitness go is definitely another like area. There's a girl that I'm actually need to follow up with her, but she's a nurse and she's 228 pounds, but she has these pictures on her Instagram, like where she used to be this really fit person. And, you know, she's trying to like spring back and make that comeback. So, do you talk a lot about like your like athletic days, like prior?
I try and incorporate it, but I'm also like, I don't know, I just get self-conscious about the things I'm posting about because I feel like I'm being too direct or too much on one thing. Like, I feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again, and people don't want to hear that. I'm trying to always find a way to be new and bold and creative instead of just focusing on me and my story.
But that is what you focus on.
Yes and no. It's hard to explain.
No, I'm saying, but that is what you need to focus on. And you're going to feel like a broken record. But the reality is, if we're growing our social media the way that we should, you always have new eyes that, oh my God, I don't know this story. I've never heard that story, right? So just be careful with this, like, oh my God, I got to create all this new and different content. You're going to be sharing this stuff the same way over and over again. Because then people are like, oh yeah, your story, like they're just gonna know it, right? Like some people will tell me like, oh, I don't even know you're a nurse. And I'm like, what? Like, how do you not know that, right? And then I go look at my social media and I'm like, oh yeah, it's been a while since I've told these people I'm a nurse or have been a nurse, right? I think too, like that, maybe there's like this expectation, like you talk about being really athletic from the age of 4 on. Talk to the girl that is you, like that has grown up all her life as an athlete, right? And it's your person. And they probably do want to travel and be fit, and there's your team, right?
Yeah, all right. One thing I've also had issues with, like another girl mentioned, is the cost, because I am still a college kid. Like, I work like 3 full-time jobs. I'm doing this. I'm trying to work on my fitness. Like, I'm a very busy human being and I'm always on the go. And I just find it hard because I always get so far with people and then they get the cost and then they shut it down. But then I also see them out like binge drinking every weekend and spending $6 on Starbucks every day. And it's frustrating because I have this thing and I want to help change their life, but they're like the idea of it, but they don't actually want to do it. They don't want to give me the chance to change their life the way that I followed Megan for like 8 months and kept saying no and no and no and no until eventually I just said, basically hit F it and did it. And it absolutely changed my life. And I try and talk about that as well, but it's frustrating because I feel like I'm hitting walls.
Yeah. So, I mean, the other part of it is people are going to watch you for a really long time too. So I think oftentimes we want like this instant gratification. It's just not going to be. But address that objection. Like, I'm building a business in my dorm room or in my apartment because I don't feel like going out binge drinking is going to serve me long run or long term, right? And then you're kind of vision casting because I rather by the age of 25 have financial freedom. Like, if you kind of just start talking to people, like, I don't know your social media, but if you kind of just start talking to people like really casting that vision, then that really might be helpful. And then you might have that girl that's kind of like over binge drinking. It's like, man, like, I mean, to me, your age group is like my ideal market because you guys are so open-minded to this. Like, you just gotta find them.
That's the issue, is trying to find them.
Yeah.
I guess.
They're there because $160 still isn't a lot of money, even if you are a college kid, because if you want it, it's, hey mom, can I get an advance on a Christmas gift or a birthday gift or something? Like, people, when they really want something, they always find a way. I promise. They always find a way. Like you had to work. Did you have to work extra to get like your challenge pack? Like,
I did. That's one of the reasons I said no. Well, how it was is actually I was going to join up last February, so like a year ago this time, but that's when I got my concussion and I couldn't work for like 3-4 months. So then I acquired some huge, massive debt because I was paying for things on my credit card. I was not able to work or fund anything or even like leave the house 95% of the time because I couldn't drive anywhere and I couldn't walk because I wasn't cleared to. So then I had to work extra hard, pull those extra shifts, and actually I maxed out my credit card to get the challenge pack because I knew it was something I needed to do for me.
do you talk about that story?
No, but I'm going to.
That girl, that I have goosebumps. I'm sorry. I understand about maxing out a credit card because you want something. Like that kind of stuff, guys, that vulnerability, like you have to open up to that. Like that stuff that makes you want to throw up, that stuff that makes you want to vomit, that stuff that you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna post this and then I want to delete it tomorrow or like before I go to bed. That is the stuff to go post about because that is going to connect you to your tribe. And here's the thing. I know that on social media you can feel like, oh my God, I need 1,000,000 followers. But guys, when you find like your true ride or dies, they're going to do something. They're going to bring people to you. Oh my God, you got to follow this girl because her story is just like you. Or they're going to start tagging people or ask them to tag people when you tell that story. Hey, do you know anybody else that needs to hear this story? Or do you know anyone else that would relate to this? Tag them. I cannot. I'm gonna throat punch him when I go downstairs. I cannot wait to like.
It's the football game. It's like 0.5.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I'm just.
Erin's like freaking out too.
At least you're behind a door. Like I have this loft. We're like totally doing my office. I like literally texted him. I was like, "Would you STF you?" Yeah, guys. So I just feel like that is it. Know your message, know who needs to hear that message, and get into your vulnerable stuff. And that even makes me think, like, Megan, what's your vulnerability? Like, what is the stuff that people really don't know? Or, like, maybe you, like, shared it a couple times and it's like, ooh, it makes me feel weird.
Like, I did a post today that I am such a people pleaser. Like, I am very... like I didn't jump and do Beachbody full time because of other people. I didn't, chase my dreams earlier because of other people. Like I do a lot of things in life because I'm trying to like make everyone else happy. And obviously like I'm left like crying all the time, like super not happy and stuff. And so that's something that I posted about tonight. And I've actually had a couple of people that were like, I'm totally feeling the exact same way. And so when you were saying that, I was like, that's the shit I need to like talk about. And it's hard because it's not like a super happy thing. And so I try to just like try to let them know it's okay. I try to let them know that like I'm there too. And like, I'm in the same shoes that they are kind of thing. And then, like one thing I haven't like shared with a lot of people and stuff is like things that are going on in like my home life and everything. And so that's something that I'm still kind of waiting to share and stuff just because it's like fresh or whatever. But I'm just really focusing on like helping people through like those winter months because they're really hard with like anxiety and depression and stuff. So that's something that I struggle with like sharing and keeping it positive because sometimes it just like is what it is.
Yeah. And I don't think like I think if you're gonna share something and it's kind of like dark or whatever, people look to us for their light. Like whether you believe that or not, you think that maybe people are like rolling their eyes, whatever, but they do look to you for light. But at the same rate, they have to understand that you're human. Like life isn't always perfect either. And so it is that if you kind of are like the girl that's always happy, share that really vulnerable moment once a month. Just put it on a board. Like it's going to happen. And you might not share it the day that it happens, but you just write it down and like kind of have it in your checkbox. Like, have I shared one super vulnerable thing this month? And again, maybe it's like the day that like you lose your qualification and it's week number 5, like I did. And you share it, but you you might not share it that day because you need to like figure out how I'm going to spin this, and like really sitting back with yourself. And I always ask the question, like, why is this happening for me? Why is this happening for me? Like, Ashley, why did that divorce happen for you? Go tell people. It wasn't so that you could sit on this call and be around all these amazing women that have uplifted you and inspired you and encouraged you in that journey, and all these strangers that you wouldn't know outside of it, and to give you an outlet from like that pain that you were going through. So I just think that like that is the beauty in marketing, guys. And when you get to, because at the end of the day, we would say, oh my God, I don't feel like a salesperson. Well, then don't feel like a salesperson, but feel like a marketer. And you're marketing something that nobody else can market for you. You're marketing you. Like, and nobody else knows you better than you, but you cannot be scared to share you. And that's my mic drop.
I literally was like, okay, call ended right there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I just think, guys, like, and that's why I say the other thing with like following Beachbody, other coaches, because it's like, oh my God, like my story isn't as great as hers, or my husband wasn't having an alter identity for 10 years or whatever that is. Like, it gets so easy to compare yourself. But when you are marketing you, when you're sharing your struggle, your vulnerability with other people, you guys, I'll give you a really good book to read. It's called The Gifts of Imperfection. Has anybody ever read this book? No. Okay, everybody needs to go read this book. It's by Brene Brown, and it's just like, she just talks about like the power of vulnerability. So I totally recommend this book if you have not read it. Because oftentimes we think about, oh my God, I'm the only one that's been divorced, or I'm the only one that like has maxed out a credit card, and it gets really easy to feel like I can't share this because it's only happening to me. And when you feel that way, like your camera lens is like too focused on you. And what we're here to do is what? To help people achieve their goals and live healthy, fulfilling lives, right? And that just isn't about you. So when you step back and you realize, hey, somebody else is probably going through that. And you guys, those posts don't get 1 million likes. Those posts might get 36 likes. But maybe you spoke to that girl. Or maybe like she doesn't even like it because she's like, oh my God, it was weird, but like, yeah. And then the next time when you have your challenge group invite, she's going to be like, oh my gosh, yes, I want to do this because you speak to me. And she feels like she's your BFF. So
I love that.
Just get vulnerable. And I know like you, like, I think that especially with Megan being a teacher for so long in Beachbody and like the success that she's had, like she can kind of help guide you in the way to share this stuff where it's not like, oh my God, I hate my life. Blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, like where it's like this, like, because that's how I talk about nursing at this point because I don't do it anymore. But like just coming at it from that angle where it still is like positive, although it might not be like so positive.
Yeah, that makes sense. Freaking love listening to you. I feel like I could listen to you like all day. I love that. I really like be vulnerable because I feel like that's a good thing. And then I like the idea of sharing other things than just coaching and fitness. I know that's like we're trying to get those people, but I think people, like you said, relate to you more when you talk about you, you know, like they don't really give two shits about Beachbody. They want you, you know, that kind of thing.
That's it. And thinking about two girls, thinking about where else you can be seen as the expert. You know, like, do you have a favorite facial cleaner? Do you have a favorite vacuum cleaner? Like these silly little things that other people, you can spark this conversation that has nothing to do with anything else that's Beachbody, health, fitness stuff. So that's just a way to create way more trust.
Yeah, I love that.
So,
all right.